Welcome to the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. Hope you're having a good hump day. I'm Jay Zawaski with Greg Boysen and Mario Tirabassi. Lawrence is here. We're in Studio A. We're having a good time. It is tolerably cool.
Wait, we're in Studio A?
It's much better than it was the last few days.
Yes, so we're having a good time. Here's what we're going to do today. We're going to do another preview review series with Seth Jones and Tyler Bertuzzi in the first half of the show. And then we've got to finish off the few questions we have remaining from our Mailbag Monday segment. You guys came through with a ton of questions. We want to respectfully get to all the ones that were sent in, so we're going to do that in the second half of the show.
Couple good ones left.
Yeah.
Well, they're all good ones.
They're all good. Well,
no, that's not true. Some of them are not good.
Some of them are objectively bad.
No, some of them would not make the air if it wasn't August.
But that's tough but fair.
We are in dire need of content, so we will take it all.
And our friends at the Hockey Barn pointing out, thank you very much. Afternoon all, we are less than a month away from the pre-season opener.
Thank gosh.
That's very good news. Oof. And I've got little birdie tells me today that the Tom Curver's rookie tournament will be very likely broadcast in one way or another via either the team's YouTube or website or whatever it might be. Cool. So we'll have hockey to watch sooner than you can imagine. So hit that like button for us.
Saves us a road trip to St. Louis.
There you go. Subscribe to the YouTube page as well. Podcast listeners, like, subscribe, rate, review. And if you're on Roku, hi. Thanks for watching. Channel 260 on your Roku. Go to that. Just search CHGO Sports or go to the little sports tab they've got there and we'll be right there for you. But Channel 260 is where you can find CHGO Sports 24/7 on Roku. All right.
Appreciate the thumbs down. Love that.
Yeah, thanks.
That's
thanks,
great.
Dad. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it.
Wrong button.
Must have been someone from St. Louis.
Yeah, it must have been.
Probably.
All right, let's get things started with Seth Jones. You may have heard of him.
We did a
Brian
super chat,
Lowe.
though, from Brian Lowe.
Oh,
Honestly, excited to see Bertuzzi next season.
Me too.
We are too. And we'll talk about him in the next 15 minutes.
yes, we will.
Yes,
we will.
Excited, but
I'm excited.
I'm happy he's here.
He's here, and he's
clear.
here
You don't
for
want any
more
more
than
bears.
just a season, and he's going to have a role to play. So much like
What's
Max
the-
Domi, I
What's the
hope he
old-
proves us wrong.
What's the old saying? Not here for a good time, here for a long time.
I think it's actually the other way. Yeah.
But he's here for a long time.
I hope he's here for a good time.
Yes.
All right, let's get started. Seth Jones last year, 67 games with the Hawks, 8 goals, 23 assists. He was had 31 points and was a minus 15.
It's an improvement.
It's an improvement, yeah.
He was a minus 38 the year before and a minus 37 the year before that. So an improvement.
Well, playing with Alex Vlasic for
Helps.
the vast majority of the season will help you, and it will help Alex Vlasic too. Let's be honest, playing with a veteran like Seth Jones. I think this is kind of what we expected. I still think he's, I don't know if saying putting pressure on himself is too much, but you do see him like, and we saw it especially really early in his tenure here, like trying to live up to the contract.
Mhm.
Seth Jones is at his best when he's just playing his game. He's got enough natural ability and instinct where the points are going to come for him. He's going to get production just because he plays 25 minutes a game. He's a good puck mover, all those things. I feel like sometimes we see him trying so hard to make a dent on his score sheet that it can slow him down a little bit.
Yeah, and I think, at different points in his tenure here in Chicago, he's kind of had to be the do-it-all guy on his defensive pair a little bit more than I think he's probably fit to do it. But I will say this past season playing with Alex Vlasic and what we saw in the small sample size of when him and Jake McCabe were a defensive pair.
Yeah.
We've seen Seth Jones play more effectively, play a little bit more within his strengths, which is to be a little bit more offensively minded and to jump into the offense a little bit more than having to sit back and, play a more defensive role, which, I mean, he's still capable of doing, but I think, naturally he is more of an offensive guy. So I hope now that we're going to a second year of him and Alex Vlasic being the top pair, I think that'll lend, a benefit to Jones. And, if he can have a fully healthy season, I think that's going to be really important too, because he is still the most important defenseman on this group. But I think Alex Vlasic has narrowed that margin.
Yeah.
Well, having him with Vlasic for from day one, that wasn't the pairing from the very first from opening night. It took a little while for them to get to. So having that as day one pairing will help, and I think you're absolutely right. But with yes, we see with him being able to focus more offensively with a guy like Vlasic on his pairing. Vlasic is the more classic stay-at-home guy. Jones probably won't have to focus on that from day one, so that should help in the offensive zone as we have breaking Blackhawks news.
Yes, we do. And whenever we have breaking news here on CHGO, it is sponsored by our friends at Indeed. Trying to find the read. There it is. Listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. That's Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Here is the news from the Blackhawks.
Not great.
Blackhawks team physician Dr. Michael Terry today released the following medical update. Blackhawks goaltender Laurent Brossoit underwent successful meniscus surgery on his right knee on Tuesday at Northwestern Memorial Hospital in Chicago. We expect him to make a full recovery and return in 5 to 7 weeks. Ben Pope chiming in. That would put his return between October 1st and the 15th, most of training camp, and maybe the first few games of the regular season. So nothing crazy. I always wonder about this during off seasons. Like, why do guys who are hurt wait so long to get it done?
I think a lot of these guys try to do everything possible to avoid the surgery, and then now it's like, well, it's last minute, or maybe he did something in his training.
Yeah, that could be.
These guys train all year round. It used to be back in the day, guys wouldn't start trying to get into hockey shape until around 3 days before training camp.
Yeah, better quit smoking again.
Yeah, so a lot of these, he could have done something. 5 to 7 weeks, worst case scenario, misses 5 to 8 games.
Sure.
Not the end of the world. So you probably start Arvid Soderblom up here.
Yeah, starts a game, maybe
1 or 2 games, depending on that start of the schedule, if you have any back-to-backs. Not the end of the world. Obviously, you want him there for training camp, and you would like to have him going beginning of the, but if this is something that's been nagging, and better to take care of it now than try and play through it the entire season. Yeah. So kind of very unexpected news.
And very aggravating. I still do not have that email.
I mean, I feel like if he's having the surgery this late, basically a month before training camp is supposed to start, 3 weeks basically, training camp is supposed to start, that tells me that this is something that probably popped up in off-season training. Because if he was dealing with something at the end of last year, you would imagine, and if it's just going to be repaired in 5 to 7 weeks, why not do that in June or July? And just have it done and be ready to go. So, yeah, this definitely feels like something that just popped up. Sucks that he'll miss pretty much all of training camp and the beginning of the season, but that's better than him trying to play through something like that and then being a fraction of what he's expected to be this year.
Yeah, and I think it says miss 5 to 7 weeks. It doesn't mean that he will be hockey inactive for 5 to 7 weeks.
Yeah, he still may be able to join the team the last week of training camp.
Yeah, and work his way back and then return to the lineup after 5 to 7
And all these guys are different. You know, different recovery. Could take longer, could take less. I mean, you got to remember, what was that, 2 years ago? Jake McCabe has back surgery. We're not even expecting to see him till December, and he's out there in training camp skating and ended up not missing a single game. I mean, Jake McCabe is built differently than most human beings, but 5 to 7 weeks is when they say is his return, which means he'll definitely be practicing and skating long before that. You don't just say in 5 to 7 weeks you put on your gear and say, hey, I'm ready to go. This probably means he's able to start skating in 2 weeks, a week.
Yeah.
And then get in the actual hockey activity, maybe in 3 or 4 weeks to rev up for getting back. So unexpected news, but certainly not season wrecking.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but it could be a hell of a lot worse, that's for sure. All right, why don't we give our grades for Seth Jones here?
Well, and by the way, Blackhawks, we start at 2:30. So a 2:26 press release would be nice.
Well, or one that gets to my inbox would be sweet.
I don't know. I think you got a lot left off the
2:41 and still nothing in my inbox. So a little bit frustrating.
It's got to send alphabetically, so you're last.
Is that how it works?
I have it here.
That makes sense.
Shout out to Brandon Sikora for the $2. We did answer that question, so no need to just a nice little super for us. Thank you.
Yep. So we'll see how that goes, but I don't know. At least you've got Mrazek, who you can hold down the start of the season with, hopefully. Now, I wonder how this changes how they handle the preseason, too. Are you a little more cautious with Mrazek? Do you not want to play him as much as you wanted to?
He probably was only going to play 2 games, maybe.
Yeah. Probably, yeah.
Because they have, 6?
I think 6. Too many.
Yeah.
He's probably only going to play 3 periods of the whole season.
Yeah.
Preseason. So...
Give Comezzo some time.
Comezzo time.
Soderblom gets time.
Give Mitchell Weeks. Mitchell Weeks. Some NHL action.
Yep.
They
also brought in what's his name, Ben Gaudreau.
Sure.
To training camp tryout. I think he's going to be at the prospect camp.
Yeah.
Or prospect showcase as well.
Best Gaudreau in hockey.
No doubt.
I'm sure he signs like an AHL deal and plays in the Fuel, and maybe he gets some time too.
I also think it's.
But Jimmy Wade,
I think we can expect a better season this year from Soderblom than we did last year.
You'd hope.
Last year,
if it's not any better, it's back to Sweden.
I'll tell you what, signing Laurent Brossoit made me care very little about Arvid Soderblom's season.
Yeah,
honestly.
No, I understand. Because
it matters what Mrazek, Brossoit, and Comezzo do.
Right.
I'm just being honest.
Because I agree with you. I think we're going to see him at least for the start of the season here. I mean, that seems to be the most obvious thing to do. He's got an NHL experience. You don't really worry about him missing time in Rockford. If he's got to play only 1 or 2 games.
Be the backup and hold the clipboard, as they say, for 2 or 3 games, and then Brossoit should be, by then, healthy and ready to go.
All right, let's do our grades here for Seth Jones before we hit the break zone. Mario, you're up first. Grade and prediction.
I gave Seth Jones a B- for last year. I think he did the job he was expected to do. Obviously, being hurt made what he brings to the team defensively kind of glare. There was a glaring, part of the team missing when he was gone. So, but I think, he was a little bit off pace of his best year that he's had here, statistically at least. But I think for the most part, he did what he was asked to do. And I took a little bit off just because of the time missed, but hard to hold that against him. But I gave him a B-.
Yes. I, too, am giving Seth Jones a B-. Things got better as the season went on. Again, 8 goals and just 31 points. You'd like to see more of this in those 67 games. Hopefully, as we'll get to the next season, those numbers improve. But 25-29 of ice time a night. Tons of PK time, tons of block shots, tons of power play time. He did everything you wanted him to do, and as him and Vlasic built chemistry during the season, the offensive production started to show up. So hopefully we get that going from game number 1.
I gave him a C+, reminding everyone, I can talk, that we are grading on the curve of an expected season as a C. If he gives you what you expected to see, so I gave him a little bit more. I would like to see the goal production go up a little bit for Seth Jones. I predict it will go up for Seth Jones as the team around him improves. and their power play improves and all those sort of things, his numbers will get better. But that would kind of be really my one criticism. And we saw how valuable he was as a team when he went out with injuries. So we're going to give our predictions for Seth Jones and then get into Tyler Bertuzzi on the other side of the break zone here on CHGO Blackhawks.
And I am going to tell you guys about our friends over at Ray Chevy, where you can secure the right new Chevy and price just for you. That's because their new car clearance event is going on all month long, and you could shop their huge selection of new Chevy models now at new low prices. Visit our partner this August at their location on Route 12 in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. As one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories. Right now, get 0% financing, make 0 payments until 2025, put $0 down, and find 0 hidden fees on all new Chevy models. That's all the zeros in one place. Or cruise into August your own way and shop over 125 of their vehicles priced under $20,000. And if you've heard of Ray Chevrolet, then you've also heard of Ray's Price Promise. They're guaranteed to make your next vehicle more affordable than ever with no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees ever. That means the incredible prices we're talking about now, you can expect to see the very same when you shop Ray Chevy in-store or online. Shop the new car clearance event all month long by visiting Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
Yes, let's do that. And between hockey injuries and political campaigns and back to school and all the crazy stuff that's got you out of your mind, it's no wonder we're more stressed out than ever. Choose chill. And you know when it's time to choose chill, the best thing you can do is reach for a Coors Light. It is mountain cold refreshment. It is our go-to whenever we're feeling. It's just time to take a deep breath, kick those feet up, put on something stupid on TV, and disconnect for a while. Coors Light's right there when I choose chill. It will be there for you too when those mountains turn blue. It's as cold as the Rockies. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold baked for a smoother finish. When you embrace the chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. Coors Light is mountain cold refreshment, crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. Make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered right now, right to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. All right. There it is. All right, let's give our grades here, or our predictions, rather, for Seth Jones. I see Mario is typing feverishly. You want to give yours first, or you want us to wait for you?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Jones, I think he's, as long as he stays healthy, he, again, is, like I said, is still the most important defenseman on this team. I'd like to see the point production get back to that upper 40s, 50 pace that he had when he first got here. I think, you know, if I mean, I feel like I'm underselling him at this point with a 10-goal, 48-point season, because if he's fully healthy, you have a second year of him and Alex Vlasic. Maybe that pairing gets more comfortable. Maybe it gets more effective because Vlasic continues to develop. I think that would be great. But if he can go put up 10 points or 10 goals, 48 points, playing almost all of the season, I think that would be really good for him. He's going to have more help in the defensive group with the additions of Alex Martinez and TJ Brody. I think you'd hope that Kevin Korchinski or Wyatt Kaiser is moving forward in their development as well, just kind of bringing up the whole defensive group, and that'll also boost what Jones does. So if he's at a half point per game or better this year, I think that's positive.
For sure.
Gregory?
I predicted that Seth Jones will have 75 games, and he'll score 10 goals and put up 50 points, so not far off from where Mario had it. I think a 40-assist season is very obtainable for Jones. His first year with the Blackhawks, he had a career-high 46 assists, and that was a team that had 4 20-goal scorers.
Yeah.
You had DeBrincat had that 40-plus goal season, Kane, Strome, and Kubalik, I think, was the other 20
I believe
goal
that's
scorer.
right, yeah.
So there are going to be more guys scoring goals on this team than there was last year when he only had 23 assists. So I think the 40 assist mark is what I want to see more than the double-digit goals. But double-digit goals with a better power play should happen, and so should the 40 assists.
Yeah, we're all pretty much in the same range here. I am predicting 12 goals and 33 assists for 45 points. A jump in goals, a smaller jump in assists, but I think, like you guys are saying, having the ability to play with better players, better opportunities, less time pinned in your own zone, more time attacking with the puck. It's something they talked about at the end of the year is they just have to simply have the puck more, and they've brought in with Bertuzzi and Tirabassi and some of the other guys they brought in, people that can hold the puck and control the puck, and you shouldn't, knock on wood, be hemmed deep in your zone anymore because you have Jacob Magna out on the ice and Jared Tenorti out on the ice, and then you're depending on Vlasic and Jones to play 25 minutes a night. You're more insulated against that kind of a defensive performance. Now, there's going to be times it happens. The Oilers will get their way with you. The Avalanche will have their way with you from points in time, but we were seeing minute and a half, 2 minutes every game, several times a game where the D would be, pinned in the zone. And it's not just on the defenseman. Forwards have a lot to do with that too. So you bring in Bertuzzi, Tirabassi, and again, two guys who are defensively responsible. Craig Smith, Pat Maroon.
KF is a very good defensive forward.
Yeah.
So
people that are willing and able and want to play defensive forward, it's going to help everybody out. So I just think as we make these predictions as a season approaches, I think everybody's going to have a little bit of a boost because I think they're going to score more, and I think they're going to allow fewer goals against, which is great news for everybody. All right, let's start up now with the season review for Tyler Bertuzzi. Spent his time last year with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He had 80 games played, 21 goals, 22 assists, and 43 points. I went and looked Natural Stat Trick just to kind of get a feel for his line mates. He spent his most common line mates were John Tavares and William Nylander. That was the line he played on the most. Mm-hmm. Oddly enough, though, the individual player, if I read the thing correctly, he played with the most was Max Domi, and just various roles and power play and all those sort of things. Now, not to spoil it, but we're all predicting a statistical jump for Bertuzzi too. But he had his opportunities in Toronto to play with highly skilled players, so it's not exactly an upgrade in talent for him. I just think it's going to be an upgrade in opportunity for him in Chicago. I think he's going to be playing more minutes, power play 1 versus power play 2, et cetera. And I think just the opportunity for Bertuzzi is what's going to make a big difference statistically.
Yeah, I mean, when he was in Detroit, he was one of the top guys, and I think he's going to play in a role that's going to be similar to when he was there with Toronto. I mean, it's a more limited opportunity because of the higher quality of talent there compared to where he was in Detroit, where he's coming to in Chicago. So yeah, I mean, I would like to see him kind of get to those numbers that he had in that role. I think that would be really important for him because he's coming in, like we said, like he's coming in kind of similarly to Max Domi, where it's just like he has that reputation around the league. He has that reputation within the three of us of like, great. But by the time Domi was done in his time here, we were like, damn, like that'd be nice to have him come back, kind of thing. So if he does that, I think that would be wonderful. And it would be great because he's here, unlike Domi on a 1-year deal, he's here for the next 4 seasons.
Yeah.
So he's a player that Kyle Davidson went out and said, we're going to invest in you to not only get through this next like 2-year window of like, we're kind of still rebuilding, but we'd like to start going in the next direction. And also like, if things go to plan after that 2-year window, you're talking playoff contention and beyond. They want Bertuzzi to be a part of that as well. So if he can get to that point where he's putting up, 50, 60 points again, I think that would be really beneficial for him, for the team, and for Connor Bedard, because I think Bertuzzi and Bedard are going to play together a lot.
Yeah, Bertuzzi got off to a decent start. He had 5 goals in his first 19 games. And then he went on a stretch of just 1 goal in 32 games.
Damn.
But then, in the final 31 games of the season, he had 16 goals to finish with 21. So he picked it up as the season went on. Probably a lot of that Toronto pressure got to him. I know, they were all over him after that one game against Boston where he was kind of just laughing at Marchand's, antics from the bench. I think that gave what chaos that the soundbite they used from Mario's buddy Steve Dangle. Get off the Maple Leafs. That was directed towards Bertuzzi. But by the end of the year, there were a lot of Maple Leaf fans that said we would rather kept Bertuzzi than Domi. So we'll see how it goes. Similar type players. I was not a fan of this move. I hated to even talk about it during the summer. But I'm going to go into the season open-minded. I think a lot of my angst of Tyler Bertuzzi is because of the last name Bertuzzi. If you grew up watching hockey in the 90s and early 2000s, you most likely were not a fan of his uncle Todd. So there's some PTSD there.
Yeah.
And he was, a bit of a pudwhack in his younger days. While covering the AHL, he got suspended with the Griffins for a slew foot incident during an important stretch of the season. So it's like those things stick with you. But, Max Domi won me over pretty quickly, so I'm hoping for the same thing here for Tyler Bertuzzi. If Nick Foligno is putting his neck out for the guy, then that makes me feel better about what happens behind the closed doors. And really, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I agree with that. That I was going to say, too, that the Foligno sign-off is a big deal for me. And I think Domi kind of suffers from that name PTSD, too, because his dad, Ty Domi, was a meathead goon.
Right.
One of the better goons and longer tenured goons, but he was a goon. Like, did dumb stuff, went into the crowd on people. Like, he was Ty Domi was nuts. And he took pride in being nuts.
Openly, willingly, repeatedly wanted to fight Bob Probert.
Yes.
You're not all there if that's what you want to do.
He looks forward to fighting Bob Probert often.
Yes.
That's all you need to know. But I think, too, like, even the Todd Bertuzzi thing, everyone remembers that one horrible incident with Steve Moore, of course, as it should be. Before that, Todd Bertuzzi was a great hockey player, one of the premier power forwards in the game. So if Tyler is anything like Todd here in terms of hockey output, cool. I think, there was also some other, like the vaccine stuff with Tyler Bertuzzi raised a lot of eyebrows. He was the only guy in the league to not go along with it. However you feel about the vaccine, it has to be noted that he's the one guy in the entire NHL that didn't go along with it. So it's not a political thing. It's just a fact. But again, for me, Foligno saying Tyler Bertuzzi is a guy that would fit in well here and should be here, I think that's all I need to know. Because as we learned at the post-season exit interviews, there were guys he did not want here and made it very, very clear. All right, let's give our predictions before we hit the break zone.
My prediction for Tyler Bertuzzi is that he'll play the majority of the season. I put up 76 games. I think that's fair. I mean, he's a guy that plays a physical style that might be prone to missing a game or two, and also he plays a style on the edge, might be prone to missing a game or two for other reasons. But if he plays 76 games, I think that would be good. If he's putting up, like I said, 50, 60 points would be great. I said 62 with the 25 goal marker. I think that would be that would match his career high. And I think that would be fantastic for the team.
Yeah. I predicted that Tyler Bertuzzi will play 77 games this year. He's going to score 23 goals, which, as I mentioned, 23 last year. He's going to be top 6 this season. That's what he was brought in to do. He's going to play power play, so those opportunities will be there. 57 total points for Bertuzzi in 77 games. I think that would be, a good season and exactly what you wanted to see from him, and get a little bit of that toughness, have another guy out there that's willing to muck it up if somebody gets in the face of Bedard, and there you go.
Yep, I got him playing all 82. I don't know. How do we know?
Let's go.
25 goals and 32 assists for 57 points. We're all sort of right there in the point and goal range. So it's I'm actually excited about this. Like when we started talking about it before it happened, it just made all the sense in the world. He's exactly what this team needs. All that sort of peripheral stuff put aside, he checked a lot of boxes for the Blackhawks, and I think he's going to make the team significantly better. All right, when we come back, we are going to get to the remainder of your mailbag questions. But first, we want to tell you about our friends at Sunnyside, your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors, novices, veterans, however you are in the cannabis world, they're there for you to find everything you're looking for at Sunnyside. They've got everything you need to elevate your summer. I talk about my favorite brand, Good News, all the time. They are created for great moments with the crew, Motley Crew. It's why each Good News gummy, rechargeable vape pen, and cart is led by the occasion you love. And another brand I love, Mindy's. The James Beard award-winning chef Mindy Siegel and Cresco Labs have partnered to create the world's best-tasting gummy and chocolate edibles that are both perfectly dosed for a consistent experience, as well as incredibly delicious. Their world-class expertise in cannabis promises precision dosing and unbeatable quality in bringing Siegel's culinary vision to life. Visit Sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter the promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois MedCard holders. I'll explain why I was laughing in a moment.
Okay, great. You know what else is a great deal like that 50% off at Sunnyside is becoming a CHGO diehard. You save 20% on all events and merch. You get a free shirt or hat or discount on a hoodie as soon as you sign up. And every year that you renew your diehard membership, you get that same deal, the free hat, shirt, or discounted hoodie. And not only do you get those discounts financially, but you also get the benefits of being able to be accessing all of our diehard-only exclusive content, not only for us here on the Blackhawks crew, but also Bears, Bulls, Cubs, Sox, CHGO Fire, Red Star, Sky, all of that we cover. You're going to get diehard exclusive access to all of that, and you get access to the diehard only Discord channel where you can hang out with other diehards and discuss Chicago sports 24/7. And I mentioned you get discounts on events. We have tons of events. We're gonna have tailgates at all CHGO Bears home games or Chicago Bears home games this year with the CHGO crew. Cubs, we got the Friday 120 Club. Every Friday 120 game, we're out there. And you can hang out with the CHGO Cubs crew. They have a takeover coming up September 6th against the Yankees. Nearly sold out, so get your tickets now. I think there's literally, you can count them on one hand how many tickets left. So if you want to see a particular New York Yankees return to Wrigley Field, you'll want to get on that takeover.
Gleyber Torres.
Yeah,
it's a big
exactly. So become a diehard, save on the merch, the events, get exclusive access to all of the great content that we produce here at CHGO, and be a part of all the takeovers, all the fun. You don't want to miss out on all of that.
Yes, do that. Become a diehard. We would love you if you did. I was chuckling during the read because I recalled a video I saw on the internet this morning of a raccoon who had broken into someone's garbage can and found discarded, expired cannabis chocolates.
Oh boy.
And the raccoon had eaten the entire bar and was just laying on the lawn, just face down, holding onto the grass for dear life.
Oh god.
Throws away cannabis chocolate.
It was expired.
Does that really make a
I
difference?
don't think it makes a difference.
Obviously it didn't.
I used sunscreen from 2017 at the
and
golf
who's
outing.
letting cannabis chocolates expire in the first place?
That's another question. But this raccoon was just completely out of it, so I was thinking about that laughing.
I live on the edge. I drank milk this morning that had been expired for 2 days.
Ooh. See,
I'm still here.
Is the expiration date the end date, or is it a range?
It's a sell by date.
I learned
it doesn't as soon as the clock hit midnight it goes correct.
Right.
No, I learned when I worked for the Greater Chicago Food Depository in a past lifetime that sell by date, best buy, and expiration dates are all different things, and they all have windows.
Yeah.
To it. You're good within a week. Look, listen, when I go with milk, if it's not chunky when I pour it, it's still good.
Yeah, just smell it. Yeah. I just don't like milk in general. Just plain milk. I'm out.
I usually only have it in my oatmeal in the morning. That's about it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I used to have milk, I don't know is it still a common thing to be here's a glass of milk with lunch? Do people still do that for kids and stuff?
I'm sure they do.
Because I used to do that. That was
You're the one with kids, not me.
well,
Does Cece get? Does she get a glass of milk with lunch?
She's got a dairy intolerance. So food intolerance is
can't eat
apparently
anything in your
I'm
house.
never in your house, man.
Next time you invite us to a barbecue, I'm like, I'm good.
If we go to
Worst
if we
barbecue
go to
ever.
Steak and Shake, we're screwed.
Man.
Can't get any of the burgers,
Lord.
any of the milkshakes.
Tirabassi DNA
nothing.
sucks.
Yeah, that's brutal. That's brutal.
That's okay. She'll be all right.
My child
so
only
find a
drinks
stone
milk
raccoon. It
and
was
water.
fun. Also,
Let's get off the
maybe you
rails
saw
real
some
quick.
people with the news that Brossoit's hurt, so maybe we should recap that real quick.
Yes.
If you're just joining the show, the Blackhawks announced today that Laurent Brossoit underwent meniscus surgery on Tuesday at Northwestern Hospital. He's expected to miss 5 to 7 weeks. Ben Pope did the math, saying that would put his return between October 1st and 15th. So that's all of training camp and the first few games of the regular season. So Hawks start the season on the road. 4 games on the road, I
Home
believe.
opener,
4?
yeah.
Yeah.
Home
Home
opener
opener
is
is what the-
October 17th, so
Yeah.
should be ready to go by then.
He'll be ready for the red carpet.
He should be. He should be on the ice before the season starts.
You would think so. Getting back into
Yeah.
shape and taking
Yeah.
pucks.
We'll
and that
see
sort of
him
thing.
at training camp, probably on his own, doing work with Jimmy Waite, skating.
Yeah.
and then it will.
I mean,
rev up.
if he hits the 5-week mark, that's still training camp and preseason. So he might even, if he's on that 5-week mark, he might actually get like a preseason period or 2.
maybe.
That'd be
That would be
optimistic.
great.
Yeah, it won't be. And if Harvard Soderblom has to start a game,
Fine.
sure.
It's not like that's going to be the one that keeps you out of the playoffs.
What if it is though?
Too bad.
Damn
Toronto-
you, Brossoit.
Too bad the Maple Leafs aren't on those first 4 games.
Oh, really? Seriously. $2 super chat from our pal Windy City Hockey says the showcase games, the Tom Curver's showcase games, are free to attend. So if you're heading out to St. Louis, that's where they are this year, right? St. Louis.
Yes,
They
Maryland
are
Heights,
outside
Missouri.
St. Louis. Yeah.
Enjoy that.
So, like Schaumburg. Of
But
St.
at least you don't
Louis.
have to pay.
Yeah.
So go to that. All right. If you are just joining us, do us a favor, hit that like button. If you've been here the whole time, hit that like button. We would really, really appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe to the page as well. All right, Laura, are we ready for the Mailbag Wednesday?
Oh, yes. Mailbag
Woo.
Wednesday.
Can I ask a quick production question while
Yes.
we're on the air? Has anyone posted the graphic?
No, I
No.
thought you were doing that.
I will do that.
All right.
We thought that's what you were feverishly clamping, typing on your.
What
phone
were you feverishly typing over there?
Check out allchgo.com in about 5 minutes and you'll see.
Oh,
there.
okay.
Nicely done. That's exciting. All right, let's get into the mailbag. And yes, it is Mailbag Wednesday. So this comes from our friend Old Sneaky Pete.
Can't trust that guy.
Can I add
your
one to
burner
the
account?
mailbag? This one came in late. Would you
That's
be
Steve from
open
Cicero.
to the Hawks offer sheeting another team in the coming years if the player matches a need, or would you be afraid of retaliation coming down the line?
I want more offer sheets from everybody.
Yeah.
I love the offer sheet. It seems like every couple of years something happens and then they go away again.
I think you have to look at it situationally. And I think, I'm just going to say this. I don't think the down the road revenge thing, like, it's part of the game. It's part of the collective bargaining agreement. No one, by utilizing the offer sheet, you're not breaking any rule. It's right there. It's written in black and white. Like, the whole, like, retaliation thing is stupid.
Chances are if you offer sheet a team and take away a young star, that general manager is not going to be there long enough to retaliate against you anyway.
Yeah, manage your cap better.
Yeah.
Know what's coming down the pike so it doesn't happen to you.
If the situation is right, I would love Kyle Davidson to pull out an offer sheet on somebody. He has definitely shown that he is aggressive when it comes to these sort of things. So, and there's a player out there that all of a sudden a lot of people want the Blackhawks to possibly offer sheet.
There's a couple.
And you look at the world's greatest general manager, Steve Yzerman's having a hard time signing 2 of his young foundational players, still has not come up with new deals for Mo Sider or Lucas Raymond. And according to recent reports, Lucas
they
Raymond
important?
and the Red
Kind of.
Wings are far apart
Uh-oh.
on a new deal, which some of media said, well, why don't we just offer sheet him and see what happens?
Can't live without Eric Gustafsson and Oli Mata.
Hey, got to have that second.
I am a fan of what the Blues did to the Oilers.
Absolutely. That's good general
They had
managing.
to make a decision on Broberg and Holloway and figure out their cap, and the Blues said, here's a week to figure it out.
Well, if the Hawks were to offer sheet Lucas Raymond. Now, Lucas Raymond, coming off a 31-goal season, won't be 23 until March. He's likely going to fall in this range. Now, compensation is based on what the AAV is on the contract, not the length of the years, but how much you're paying him. The more you pay a guy, the more you have to give up. His deal is likely going to fall in this range, the $6.8 million, the $9.1 million range, probably in the $7.5 million per a year. That means you would have to give up a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and a third-round pick, and they all have to be in next year's draft.
So according to capwages.com, the Hawks don't have that because it has to be your own picks.
It has to be your own picks.
So the Hawks do not have they cannot pull that off if they wanted to.
But theoretically,
Currently.
Yes.
if they had that, they would have to trade to get their old
They have to get their
picks
own pick
back.
Mhm.
Much like the Blues did. They made a
Yes.
inconsequential trade that morning with the Penguins getting their pick back, and then they offer sheeted. But let's just say for theoretic purposes,
They would just for clarity, they would need a third round. They'd have to find their third round pick
back. Yes. So, and they would have to give up their first round pick, not the Toronto pick. So you would be giving up possibly a top 5 pick. But if you have Lucas Raymond on your team, maybe you're probably not a bottom 5 team. Maybe not.
Yeah.
But you're still going to give up a lottery, miss the playoffs pick most likely, and a second and a third.
Fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would do it.
I might do that.
I would do it. Kid's proven
for
he's
a
23 years old.
23-year-old 30-goal scorer.
yeah, I mean, he's going to be better than anything you're going to get in any of those rounds.
Mhm.
He definitely fits the Hawks, what they're trying to do here. You get that other, dynamic forward we're looking for at 22.
Mm-hmm.
And for the prime of his career, I think it's worth it too. But, I don't know if adding, and also you got to also think about it though. They couldn't, if it's $7.5 million, that'd put them over the cap.
Well,
Yeah.
sure.
So it's not going to happen. The Hawks aren't going to do it for the reasons you just mentioned. They don't
Well, I mean,
have the.
If you want to
their
get that
picks.
third round pick back, you could trade
Sure.
some salary
You
off
could
the
trade.
roster.
Yeah.
But I think a guy like
Good.
Raymond, if he hasn't been offer sheeted yet, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
it may
lot to
still.
give.
It is.
There's 6 teams in the league that could do it. That could explain why.
Well, that too.
One of them is Detroit. So it's 5.
5 teams.
Buffalo, Montreal, the Islanders, the Flyers, and the Kraken have what it would take as of this moment right now to get a Lucas Raymond offer sheet deal done.
If the Blackhawks make a weird trade tomorrow with whoever that owns that third round pick to get it back,
Onza.
then it might come. So
I mean,
I think the offer sheets work better for guys like Holloway and Broberg than they do for like potential future stars.
I agree.
Because those you don't have to give up the compensation because the AAV is not as big. It's not going to be. That's why you never see, Vladimir Tarasenko when he was coming off of RFA didn't get offer sheet. Like there are superstar players that they would all get offer sheeted if it was that easy.
you know who I'd offer sheet that's still out there?
Tyler Johnson.
No, he won't need an offer sheet.
Well, technically a contract is an offer.
I will
sheet.
offer him a sheet of paper.
There you
But
go.
it won't be an offer.
Do you want this? No. Well, I offer sheeted you anyway.
I'd go after Seth Jarvis.
I believe
With
they
Carolina?
are close to a deal, though.
Oh, okay, how
Yeah.
close?
I don't know. People on the internet are talking about it, so it's got to be close.
Man, he just seems like
He would be a little less of the AAV, I think.
I think, but man, I think the What Chaos guys have made me like him more because of his personality, but also on the ice, man, he has gotten
He's a good
better
player.
every year, and he's a guy that just plays. He's the kind of player the Blackhawks just don't have. Like it's kind of like, I'd say like a skillful Andrew Shaw, like a guy who can get in there, be pesty, be physical. He's not the biggest guy, but also can put up 30 goals. Like I would love that.
Yeah, as our pal Lebowski 5, who's here every day, we thank him. With Raymond and Jarvis, another 2 more small forwards on a team full of small forwards. Now, I'm not
Jarvis is small.
I'm not the biggest. Oh my God, everybody's got to be 6'3" or bigger. But at some
One
point,
would be good.
At some point, yes, you should have a
Yeah.
couple,
Yeah.
at least. But yeah, that wouldn't be the worst move. He exploded this year for 33 goals, 67 points.
Lucas Raymond's not small. 5'11", 190. 6
That
foot.
inch is all the difference.
Yeah, if he was 6 foot, people would feel better about
Sure.
it. But
It's so weird.
I mean,
Like, oh, this guy. He's never gonna make it. If he was only, what's 2 inches like this? Wait,
you should know.
trust me. It is. Is that the difference between NHL stud and NHL bust? Like, come on. Like, what are we talking about here?
Right. No, I agree.
It's not 6 inches.
You know,
It's not. He's 5'4".
Yeah.
It's
it's not.
He's not Lane Hudson.
Yeah.
Come on.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think it's so much is made of that. But here's what I'll say about the Raymond thing. And Lebowski said that would set the rebuild back a little bit. And RY makes a good point. I think it's Rye. Makes a good point. And we talked about this off the air yesterday. The Hawks have shown a willingness to move on from that first-round pick next year when they try to get Demidov, right?
Yeah.
So they're willing to move from it because they knew coming into this offseason they were going to be active and the team was going to be better. To me, a second and third, and I know it would be a higher second and a higher third, they are lottery tickets at this point. The only picks, if I know I'm getting something guaranteed back, like Lucas Raymond, like Moritz Seider, like Seth Jarvis, whoever we're talking about here, I don't give a crap about second and third round picks. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Take them. If I'm getting a 31 goal scorer, the first sort of ones I'm worried about parting with.
At 22, 23-year-old.
What are the odds you're going to draft somebody as good as him in those second or third round spots? Almost zero.
Right.
And even if you're saying 7 or 8 in the draft, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you end up with a kid who scores 31 goals when he's 22 years old.
Right.
Maybe. But it's pretty unlikely. So to me, yeah, we're all for gathering assets. We're all for, keeping the rebuild and reloading and all those things. But if you get an opportunity to add someone that young, that talented, that dynamic, it's very tempting.
I think we are very close, and it's a good thing. We are very close to the point in the rebuild where you stop worrying about draft classes. We're not there yet, but we are close.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
this
signing
2026 draft class and Gavin McKenna crap. I kind of don't care about it right now.
I don't want to be.
Like I don't want to be worrying about that lottery.
I'm tired.
Right.
Whenever someone types in a chat like a draft prospect's name, I immediately start hating that person.
Thank
not
you.
the person who writes it, the player.
Oh, the
that
player.
was me
I don't want
last
to
year.
hear about the player.
That's why I don't like Macklin Celebrini.
I don't care about Connor Bedard's cousin.
1 second after winning the draft lottery last year was already Celebrini. I'm like, I hate this kid.
No,
I don't want
I'm
him.
over it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it.
So
Yeah.
Gavin McKenna stinks.
we're getting
I have no idea if that's true, but I'm so tired of hearing
He's
it.
pretty good.
Stinks, Jay Sherman.
Yeah,
but we are getting to that
16-year-old for Christ's
we are
sake.
getting to that point or close to that point. Now, granted, if this team sucks and things look terrible again this year, then yeah, okay, I get it. We'll probably still be in the lot. It's, whatever. But I think we're getting close to that point where you start looking at those like future draft picks, like a 2025, 2026 first or second round pick. And you're like, maybe we're getting to the point where you have to look at like, can we get young guys now? Rather than, here's a guy that maybe in 2028 is playing in the NHL.
And the other thing, too, is as we've been looking, a lot of people have been looking forward to this next coming offseason. Draisaitl, Rantanen, like all these huge names, they're all going to be re-signed. All those guys are trending towards re-signing with their teams right now.
Yeah, it's unlikely that you're going to get a free agency class that is that loaded.
So if you're going to find a young guy in their prime, and it's not as big of an
I mean,
investment. I will say this, just to somewhat tie a bow on this. Detroit has almost $18 million in cap space right now.
Yeah, I think they're going to be fine.
So I think they'll be okay. I think they'll get something done with Raymond. And I get you can't criticize Steve Yzerman, God forbid. But if he's just kind of waiting this thing out and saying, hey, I don't want to give you $10 million. I'll give you 7. I'll give you 8. That's smart capping. So we'll see what happens.
Sure is.
All right, question 2.
Everything okay?
Oh,
up
you want to
there?
go back? Well, there may or may
getting
not have
invaded.
been rain inside the building last night, so it sounds like they're taking care of it up there. But let's
They're
get
at
back
least
to the
walking up
mailbag.
there.
by making new holes.
Yes.
Find new
Okay.
holes.
I like this question. This is a good question.
I like that movie.
This comes from at 81 Spiastri.
Holly.
right.
Let's just say Holly.
Thanks. Thanks,
Fine.
Holly.
Which Hawks players do you think have the best chance at making the 2026 Olympic rosters for their country,
Connor Bedard.
if any?
Bedard for Canada.
Vlasic.
Seth Jones probably has a good chance for Team USA.
I mean,
In 2 years, Vlasic, one of the top 6 defensemen.
Maybe.
top 7 or 8 guys, maybe. Yeah, that there's potential there for that. I think Seth Jones, he'd have to really like bounce back and have like fantastic seasons. But I mean, he's still kind of in that bubble of player. Yeah, Vlasic, Bedard, Khrushchev for Switzerland.
Yeah,
I think
Reichel, if he's
a
still
good one.
here, is good enough to play for
Reichel,
Germany.
if he's
probably.
still here and produces in the NHL, I think he'll play for Germany. What else? Who else we got? Mrazek will probably play for Czechia.
Yeah.
Probably.
There's a shot. I'd say good.
Might be
above.
one of their 3 goalies. Maybe not their starter, but one of
Yeah.
their 3 guys. What else we got? Got any
Tavo good enough to make it for Finland?
Yeah, I would think
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably about where you
They don't have a
draw the line.
They
I mean,
don't have a ton of like international guys, if I'm not mistaken.
Not
on
really.
the current roster, at least.
Because a lot of the younger guys who would make an impact are Canadian.
Yeah,
So, like, even if Kevin Korchinski takes a massive jump,
I mean, he's not
he's not going to be one of the
not
best 7 or 8
cracking that
Canadian
roster, no.
defensemen.
no.
2030 maybe.
Oh, Samuel Savoie, for sure.
Maybe.
Levchinov.
For Belarus, yeah.
Belarusian.
Maybe.
Are they going to be allowed to play in the Olympics?
Well,
Belarus
not
is in the
Russia.
Olympics.
No, I know, but they're also banned.
Are they?
Last I
Are
knew.
they?
All right, well, screw them.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, the only other international player, non-North American, is Soderblom that I'm seeing here.
If Sweden's using him, I don't like their chances.
Nah, I don't think they will.
No, Belarus participated in the Paris Olympics.
Yeah, but for hockey, is the IAHF ban lifted or does that matter
I don't know.
I don't know.
for the Olympics?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Belarus and Russia. This is as of February of this year. Belarus and Russia will not participate in the 2024-25 IIHF championship season. I don't know if that
I know
does anything for Olympics.
IIHF is a governing body of the Olympics, but it's also the Olympics, I think, committee.
The international, the IIHF extended its ban on Belarus and Russia through the Olympics. Belarus will also not take part in the final round of Olympic men's qualifying this summer.
Okay.
All right, too bad.
So,
They probably wouldn't make it anyway, so.
well, if Levchinov wants to become an American citizen and
Work for Brett Hull.
play for Team USA, I'm not against it.
All right, what do we got next?
Okay, gentlemen.
I love learning in real time.
Right.
Yes.
Good
Next,
stuff.
It goes to show that we don't do a lot of research on this
perfect.
show.
It's great. Next up, this comes from our friend Scott, Iowa 23, who says, got tickets to the Wild and Hawks on Black Friday.
Nice.
He says, stepdad is a Wild fan.
Ooh.
Don't hold it against him because he loves the show and he likes the Hawks except when they play the Wild. So what's your best/worst road trip story for any trip? Doesn't have
Oh,
to be
boy.
sports related. So here we go.
Road trips.
Does my recent bad barbecue experience in Kansas City count?
Sure.
The one significant meal we had that was highly recommended was actually terrible at Jack Stack's. Awful. One of the worst meals I've ever had. And it was $100.
Ouch.
I would say doing the video from Elizabethtown, Kentucky about the Taylor Hall Nick Foligno trade was a lot of fun on our trip to Nashville.
Horror stories. The blood on the floor of our Pittsburgh Airbnb wasn't great.
That wasn't great. Yeah,
Or the hair in your bed that wasn't yours.
not also great. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I haven't taken a ton of like long road trips.
My worst road trip adventure was, I don't remember the exact year, probably 2010-ish. Went with a friend we were going to go to see Bob Weir and Rat Dog at a place called Penn's Peak in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. It was supposed to be this really cool venue, literally on top of a mountain. St. Patrick's Day weekend. We get to the airport. There's a blizzard on the East Coast.
Uh-oh.
The closest we could get was Washington, D.C. So Washington, D.C. to where we're going on a normal day would be 2 hours, but in the snow was like a 4.5-hour drive. We finally get into this town. We're at the bottom of the mountain. The venue's at the top of the mountain. The show's still going on. The woman at the desk says, "You'll be fine. Just when you hit the gas to go up, don't take your foot off the gas until you reach the top." Well, of course, we get stuck halfway up.
Oh my God.
But there are two guys from the venue that own tow trucks that are literally spending the whole night going down and towing people up to the venue.
Man,
God.
And we got
good,
there
good value.
in time for the whole concert. And by the time the concert was over, the roads were all paved. And then the next night, everything was paved and done. It was done snowing. It was a great time. But just getting there.
Awesome.
I was probably in my late 20s when that happened, because if that happened now, A, I'm not making that trip,
Yeah.
and B, I'm leaving the airport and going home and saying I'm good.
I think all my road trip horror stories have to do with me being on the road and needing a bathroom and not being near one.
Sounds like Nashville.
That also happened in Nashville.
Well, that was Casey, though. Poor Casey.
Sky Point.
I mean, I
Have
have
bus toss Casey like that.
She's not here to yell at us.
Yeah, whatever.
She can't have cheese, in case you didn't know.
Well, she can have it, but
Just wouldn't recommend it.
then you're on a timer.
We drove from San Francisco to Lake Tahoe with my child a couple summers ago, and the last hour you're kind of going up the mountain there, and it gets a little curvy and whatever, and it's a long drive. So my kid just was starting to be like, "Oh, yeah, are we there yet? Are we there yet?" And we thought it was just a standard annoyance, that thing. Next thing you know, she is just throwing up all over herself in the car seat and
no.
everything. And we had to do like a serious pit stop situation. The wife and I find the next little turn off thing. I get over there and I run around the side. I'm getting the paper towels, blah, 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 out of the trunk and whatever. And also my wife's sister is just sitting next to my child, just on her phone, not doing a thing at all, which I thought was great because it's not her kid.
Yeah, that's disassociating, man.
But yeah, then
Whenever
I
puke's involved, that's what I do.
I like grabbed my kid and put her on the rock next to the road. It was like 100 degrees, and she's like, "Oh, that's hot." I'm like, "Oh shit!" And then I had to like put her in the front seat. And anyways, it was fine. I also like pre-cell phone ended up doing a little black ice situation on the way to Iowa City one night and sliding off the I-80, and that's a little frightening when you don't have a cell phone. And
Yeah,
you're
that's
just
scary.
on the side of the road at night. And I like a cop like drove by the other direction, slowed down, and I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then he just kept going, and I was like, what? And then luckily, like 10 minutes later,
You had to get home.
one of those big snowplows came and picked me up and drove me to the next little stopping point where I
You win.
use
That's
That
Use a
sounds
phone.
that's
good.
harrowing. I don't like
Yeah.
that at all. All right, do we have one more?
We do have one
Let's
more.
do it
And that's
quick.
the
Perfect.
perfect time. Okay, this next and final question of the mailbag goes to you guys from David Garcia, who asks, if you guys could live in an open world video game, which game would you pick? Me personally, I would pick Red Dead 2,
Oh,
large
Red Dead
map,
No.
and I would love to hunt.
I would not pick Red
No,
Dead 2.
I wouldn't survive long on that one.
Yeah, I would have
no.
the first scene of Red Dead 2 where they're in the snow, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
They'd be eating me to stay
I don't think
alive.
I'd
There's
be
a
good-
new one out.
I
that
wouldn't be
I'm-
good in the Wild West.
I'm on the fence about buying it. Star Wars Outlaws.
Hmm.
The reviews haven't been great, but I'd love to be in the Star Wars universe. Does Jedi Survivor count as an open world game? I don't know.
I don't know.
Open world game, I always think of like GTA
Yeah.
or like
So Outlaws is definitely open world.
I'd hang out in Vice
Let's
City.
give me a Star Wars something.
I'd hang out in Vice City. There's some
Yeah.
fun things to do there.
is Animal Crossing open world? Because that just looks lovely.
I think so.
Just looks delightful.
Just sounds fun.
A
I would
human
do that.
amongst animals with just nothing but time to go fishing.
Yeah, fish
Sounds
and
good.
listen to music. That sounds great. All right, we're going to wrap things up. Thanks, everybody, for being with us. We'll be back tomorrow, as we always are, at 2:30. A couple things. Please hit that like button if you've not done it already. We would appreciate that. Make sure you're subscribed on your favorite podcast app or apps. Check us out on Roku, channel 260, or just search CHGO Sports. Don't forget, we just launched this week DLLS. So you're going to want to go check out our friends in Dallas, the latest station here in our All-City family. They're already kicking butt with CD Lamb news and a whole bunch of stuff coming out for them.
Nice emergency pod in your opening day.
Good start for them. Yeah,
Welcome.
emergency pod on the first day. So there's nothing but great stuff coming from All-City. So become a diehard at allchgo.com. Get your free shirt, get your free hat, get your $35 off a hoodie, and you'll be good to go just in time for Bears tailgate season. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow at 2:30 right here on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.